John Cooper Works Rally has been designed in the last 4 months. And what you see behind me is the latest edition, the rally version. There's been a lot of changes to the old version, especially from the aerodynamics. And I would like to show you some of the features. It starts from the front, especially the air inlets are mainly now on the top and the whole bottom is closed to get more downforce as well on the front. It continues at the bumper, because this is a much bigger bumper than before on the front, to have a better aerodynamics on the high speed areas. Then if you go to the roof, we can see the quite a huge air inlet on the roof, which gives you more cooling for the radiators, which are partially situated at the rear. And the air inlet on the roof rail, which is new as well. And there is a snorkel going down inside the A-pillar. This is actually the biggest change on the upper part, because this is now not visible. It all is inside the car and not anymore outside as it has been before. When we go further to the side, we can see an interesting part, because this is as well in some of the Minis slightly similar. There's an air outlet behind the wheel. So all the air which is going into here can go out here quickly, and this obviously reduces the drag. The same situation happens for the whole side, and especially the ventilation for the engine, which comes now out behind here, taking as well these pieces, the original John Cooper Works design elements into account. On the co-driver side, where normally the exhaust was coming out on the side, this is the biggest change. Obviously, now the exhaust has a flow completely to the end of the car, with even some cooling ribs in here, which gives a good ventilation to keep the temperature down from the exhaust at the back. If you see the new designed Akrapovic exhaust, which actually is a completely new design from the front to the back, to release the back pressure a little bit, and as well helps to get the fumes out quickly. The last thing on the back, which we can see quite easily, is a longer underguard. This helps you as well to reduce the drag, and as well to give a little bit downforce at the rear, which all is made for higher top speed. Overall, we consider that we have a higher top speed of about 4 to 8 kilometers, depending on the surface, with the new body, which is in totally much smaller and more aerodynamic. The new flat surfaces on the side, which you can see quite nicely here, are taken from the new original Countryman, and they are obviously for aerodynamic much better, and we even enhance them a little bit to make this even, number one, look better and have some more side effects for the wind. The biggest change for the performance side, beside the aerodynamic from the outside, is underneath the body, and that is easy to see. Before, there has been the spare wheel, which has moved, and now there's all radiators for the turbo and the oil radiator for gearbox and everything. They have been up here before, and they moved basically 50 centimeters down. It's about 30 kilos which we moved down, and that gives obviously quite an effect on the center of gravity. The tire, which has been here before, has moved to the side and is now basically underneath the co-driver's feet. This is why the leg room got much smaller. Now you've got 3 times 35 kilos laying really below the drivers, which is the center of gravity quite further down. So in the inside of the car, the biggest difference is on the co-driver side. The co-driver has now his dashboard, which is really ergonomical made, so he can see all the instruments easily, and they are facing his face. Put it this way, you see this with the angles. We have only 1 trip meter left, because we noticed that the redundancy before, where we had everything with 2, is not necessary. Additionally, the view got much better for the co-driver, and this was always a complaint on the last car, because the snorkel is now inside the A column, which gives you a much better side to the right hand side as well. Before, it was about 5-6 centimeters more, which is obviously was a big hurdle for the co-drivers. Going to the middle of the car, or to the center dashboard as we call it, now everything is electronically controlled in a quite bigger way than before. You can see here all the data which can be read by the co-driver and the driver itself has got a smaller dashboard. Starting with the one for both, you've got 16 pages and you can go with them up and down. So how you want them, you get all the information, all the temperatures, and as well all the problems disappear immediately there and tell you what you have to do if you have to change a sensor or whatever. That's an easy way to get this done. The driver can put here on his display as well, differently to the display which he has, the big display, the information he wants, if it's a ref counter in a manual way, or if he wants to see his fuel consumption, if he's low on fuel. So this gives him an autonomy to do whatever he wants to see in his small window. On the center are the electronic fuses, which is new as well. Before we had manual ones. Now everything is electronically. Everything is with a redundancy, and if something breaks, normally another ventilator or another comes into play. And the last one you can use is the override, which basically overrides all the fuses to make sure it's not a fuse or it's not an electric problem, because then it's directly adjusted to whatever that is, if it's a ventilator or whatever that is.